the overall aspects of state legislature, and we had discussed that state legislature functions, compositions, and other aspects. So we shall now discuss the questions related to the state legislature. Okay, I hope all of you have gone through the class well and must have understood all the things. Now we shall move the class test for state legislature. Oh, sorry, that is state executive. Okay, so we shall move to state legislature here. There are 35 questions. We shall move to that. Consider the following statements. The Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Bill 2019 received the President's assent on 9 August 2019. It's a correct statement. It reconstituted J&K into two union territories, that is J&K and Ladakh. It came into effect on 31st October 2019. So all these statements are correct. All these statements are correct with regards to Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. The Chief Minister and other ministers of Union Territories where such setup exists are appointed by President. So unlike in a state, in a union territory, the Chief Minister and the Council of Ministers are appointed by the President. Okay, not by the Lieutenant Governors or so-called administrators. Which of the following statements are not correct? The Governor can refuse to give his assent a bill. Yes, he can assent under 200, Article 200 it is there. The Governor can reserve certain bills for the consideration of the President. Yes. The Governor may refuse to invite a leader of the party in Vidhan Sabha who does not command the majority of the House. Yes. Governor may dismiss the Speaker of Vidhan Sabha and the Chairman of Vidhan Parishad. No, he cannot. That is D. Okay. Number 4. The Legislative Council of a state is not subject to dissolution. Can be abolished by Union Parliament on the recommendation of the Assembly. Can be abolished by the President in India on the recommendation, on the Governor's recommendations. Yes. So that is there. Who among the following in the state legislature decides the disqualification of a member of legislative assembly arising on the ground of defection? That is 1/6 members are nominated by the president, not by the president but by the governors. So only one is correct. A is correct. B 2 is incorrect. Which of the following is among the discretionary power of the governor? Selecting a chief minister if no single party has majority in the state assembly. Yes. Dismissing the ministry at any time? No. So that can be correct. That is incorrect. Reserving a bill for the consideration of the President of India? Yes. So 1 and 2 are correct. What is the minimum gap between the two sessions of state legislature? Minimum gap is 6 months. Minimum gap is 6 months. Comply with the directives of the central government. That is C. He can declare breakdown of constitutional machinery and assume responsibilities for the governance of the state. 11. Consider the following statement. Advocate General has right to speak and to take part in the proceedings but no right to vote in the House of Legislature of the state. Advocate General is appointed by the Chief Minister? No. So that is wrong, that is right, that is wrong. So 11 is I, only one. 11 is only one. Option A is correct. What is the maximum age of qualification for members of the Legislative Assembly and Councils, India, of a state in India respectively, 25 and 30. For Vidhan Sabha it is 25. For Vidhan Parishad it is 30. Which of the following is not correct with regards to passage of a money bill in the state legislature? A money bill can originate in the Legislative Assembly and cannot originate in the Legislative Council. Okay, the upper house has no power. The upper house has no power, that is not roll power. There is no power to amend the reject a money bill. Yes. There is no provision of joint sitting in case of conflict of money bill. Obviously, the council of chairperson of council members certifies a bill. No, the Speaker of Legislative Assembly certifies a bill. Speaker of the Legislative Assembly certifies a bill as money bill. So D. 14. The Council of Ministers where bicameral legislature exists is responsible to the Assembly always. Responsibility to the Assembly always. B. A bill originating in and being duly passed by the Legislative Council moves to the Legislative Assembly if the Assembly either rejects or makes amendments which are agreed or not by Council then. So we shall come to question number 15. A bill originating in and being duly passed by the Legislative Council moves to the Legislative Assembly, and if the Assembly either rejects or make amendments which are not agreed to by the Council, then there is an immediate end to the bill. Because the Assembly has a superior role, or you can say Assembly has an unchallenging role in the case of even an ordinary bill. So if a bill is rejected by if a bill is passed by the Council but rejected by the Assembly, or if an Assembly makes recommendation in the amendments in the bill, but the amendments are not accepted by the Council, then the bill may come to an end. So Assembly has very significant power on legislation, even ordinary legislation. So there is an immediate end. What fraction of the total membership of the Legislative Council are elected by the persons engaged at least 3 years in teaching in educational institution not lower than standard than secondary schools? That is 1/12 C. The number of members of state legislative council shall not exceed 1/2 of the total membership of the council, 1/3 of the council. C. So answer will be C. It was increased from 1/4 to 1/3 by 7th Amendment Act 1976. The quorum in a state legislative assembly in India. The quorum, minimum number of members to be present, that is 1/10 or 10, whichever is greater. Consider the following statement. The Legislative Council has similar power of Rajya Sabha in case of an ordinary bill. We can say that the Legislative Council can retain an ordinary bill for a maximum period of 6 months without taking any action on it. No. So that is wrong. Maximum 4 months. At a time 3 months plus 1 month. So that is only 1. Question number 20. Match list with list 2. Governor 163. Appointment of governor, you can say 155. Council of Minister added, it can be matched with 163. Duties of the Chief Minister 167. And Legislative Council abolition and creation 169. So A2, B4, 2413. Sorry, it is 3 and Council of Minister is 4 and it is 1, it is 2. So 3412 is the answer. 3412. The governor is de jure head of the state administration. The chief minister is the de facto head of the state administration. Both region A and R are correct. And R is the correct explanation of it, we can say. (170) Composition of the Assembly, Legislative Assembly Council, Annual Financial Statement, Special Provisions for Financial Bill. 1, 2, 3, 4. In which article every minister and advocate general have a right to speak and take part in the proceedings of the House of state legislature, that is 177. Okay, then you can see the other articles. What will be the answer? Salaries and allowances of members. 197. Restriction on power of the state legislatures. Restriction on the powers of state legislative council, bills other than so that is 1. 210 is the language and 212 is the courts not to inquire. Yes. So 2143. The Council of Ministers is the channel of communication between the Governor and the Council of Ministers. Chief Minister is the head of the state of Council of Ministers. Select the correct quote. Okay, so we can say answer is A. Who among the following has not been Speaker of Vidhan Sabha? That is your Vinayak Acharya, who was the first leader of opposition of Odisha Vidhan Sabha, Sardakar Supakar. In which of the assembly the strength of Odisha Vidhan Sabha was increased to 147, 6th General Assembly, 6th Assembly election. 74, or you can say. Consider the following states: Gujarat, Karnataka, Haryana, Kerala. Gujarat, Karnataka, Haryana, Kerala. So the legislative assemblies will be 2143, 2143A. So kindly check the strength of each assembly for preliminary point of view. It will be very helpful. Okay, next. So Bhubaneswar became capital of Odisha on 13th April 1948, and it was correct also. So B. Otto Königsberger was the architect. 30B. After 31st October 2019, how many union territories have owned legislative assemblies in India? There will be 3, including Jammu Kashmir. There will be 3, like J&K, Delhi, and Puducherry. So B. Yes. Yes. So both 1 and 2 are correct. You can see the statements. Both 1 and 2, answer is C. Okay. Now, Following was established first among them. So Bihar, which of the following state is the largest area among them? Gujarat, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Tamil Nadu. The Karnataka, first will be Karnataka, largest area. Then second में आएगा आंध्र प्रदेश, थर्ड है केरला. Kerala the maximum strength of Vidhan Sabha is 1/3 of Vidhan Sabha. We have discussed. So guys, we have discussed 35 questions on state legislature. I hope this has been helpful to you. And we shall begin a new chapter today called Local Self-Government in India. Right. So we shall start today. Local self So what is the meaning of local self-government exactly? Local self-government in India is a term used to autonomous units of governance at the grassroots level, that is village and municipality level. Local self-government has a very impressive role to play in the governance of the country. It is below the state governments, you can say. There is no district government, there is Panchayat Raj, or there is local self-government. Democracy is based upon popular participation. So here, the term democratic decentralization is also taken, democratic decentralization. But the term Panchayat Raj, the term Panchayat, preferred by Nehru in place of democratic decentralization. According to Nehru, people are the source of power. The government derives power from the people. So again, the power should not be devolved to the people. So Panchayat Raj was adopted in place of democratic decentralization. Everyone living in the grassroots at the lowest rung of the society, or in the village or municipal area, are having common interest. They can be met. So local self-government but the term Panchayat is as old as human civilization. You can see that the local self-government evolved during the ancient past or during the remote past. Panchayata, ruled by the Pancha and 5. So, village or Panchayat Raj has a root in the ancient landscape of the country. The word Panchayat has been derived from the word Pancha means 5. So the institution of Panchayat Raj is as old as Indian civilization itself. It was in existence in ancient periods, and it had an effective control over civil and judicial matters in the village community. The Rig Veda, the Manu Samhita, Dharma Shastras, Upanishads, Jatakas, all refer extensively to local administration. The Panchayat Raj system of administration in Manusmriti and Shanti Parva, Mahabharata, there are many references to the existence of Grama Sabha or village councils. So Panchayat Raj is as old as India's ancient civilization. Shanti Parva of Mahabharata, Shanti Parva of Mahabharata and Manusmriti are full of references to existence of Grama Sanghas, and so the word Pancha means 5 is found in Shanti Mahaprabhu. Pancha and Pancha Bhanustita are semantically close to Panchayat Raj. It also found mentioned in the famous Arthashastra by Kautilya Arthashastra provides a comprehensive account of the system of village administration prevailing in this time. Arthashastra by Kautilya comprehensive account of Panchayat Raj, by village administration. So you can see in ancient times especially, there was more stress on the village as a unity of governance. Usually because there was lack of effective communication and transport system at that time. So unit of governance could not be done into many larger parts because that could defy personal or communications. Okay, so Arthashastra is one of the factors. The village administration during ancient time was carried under the supervision and control of Adhyaksha and headman. There were other officials you can have read also, Samikshaka, Anikitachka, Jamga Karmika, Chikishchaka. Okay, so these are the examples why ancient, and in also in Ramayana there are references of Ganapada, village federations, which is perhaps a kind of federation of village republic. Self-governing village communities characterized by agrarian economies existed in India from the earlier times. Mentioned in Rig Veda that the dates from approximately 200 BC, the village was basic unit of administration in the period. Okay, the most remarkable feature of in the Vedic period, most remarkable of the early Vedic polity consisted the institution of popular assemblies, which two names Sabha and Samiti merged in the Vedic period. A Samiti was the Vedic folk assembly that in some cases enjoyed the right to electing a king, while the Sabha exercised some judicial functions. Both Samiti and Sabha enjoyed the rights of a debate or a privilege unknown to the popular assemblies of the ancient people. The office of the village head, Gramin, indicates the emergence of village as a unit of administration. Okay? So that continues, and there are also certain panchayat, caste panchayat, okay, most confined to western states of India. Okay, in Mauryan period also village was the basic unit of administrations. Village used to organize works of public utility and recreation, settle disputes, and act as trustees for the property of minors. But they have not yet evolved regular councils. Okay, so these are the things. During medieval and Mughal period, village bodies were the pivot of administrations. So apart from that, during medieval, Mughal period, the village bodies were the pivot of administrations. Village bodies were the pivot, means center of administrations. Each panchayat comprised of village elders who looked after the interest of the people and administered justice and imposed punishment to the defaulters. The headman of the village, a semi-government official, acted as a coordinator between the village panchayat and the higher administrative authorities. Akbar accepted this idea also. Okay. The Mughal introduced elaborate administrative machinery with a hierarchy of officials, particularly in the field of revenue. The Mughal ruler administrative system lasted over centuries. Okay. So during the Mughal period, administrative system lasted over centuries. It was with the collapse of the Mughal stronghold, the British established their hegemony in India. Okay, so British was a trader especially in the country. The primary focus was much to do with the trade and little to do with the governance. The local government were hardly their first priority. In fact, till the advent of British rule in India, the rural republic had flourished and thrived. So with the coming of lost their sign and effectiveness because British were the least concerned about the administration and governance initially. So it came as a trader and it wanted to concentrate all its energy in expanding and getting profit from the trade. So that is there. In the year 1687, municipal corporation was created in Madras. Set up on British model of town council, the body was empowered by the levy taxes for building legislation. So that is also a part. Okay. So it was there, and in 1869-72, Lord Mayo prepared a report called Decentralization of Governance. The revolt of 1857 that had put the imperial finance under considerable strain, and it was found necessary to finance local services out of local taxes. Therefore, it was out of the fiscal compulsion of the Lord Mayo, decentralization can be adopted. So that is the there. So we can take example of Lord Mayo's Lord Mayor's resolution. Resolution introduced equality. Lord Mayor's resolution introduced principle of it was only out of sheer financial compulsion. Not British was interested for the promotion of local government or local self-government. Another provision was that Bengal Chowkidar Act of 1870 marked the beginning of revival of traditional village panchayat system in Bengal. The Chowkidar empowered the district magistrate to set up a panchayat of nominated members in the village to collect taxes and to pay the chowkidars or watchmen engaging by them. Then later, Lord Ripon's resolution, considered as the milestone in the history of local self-government in India. Ripon recommended for granting certain autonomy to the panchayat and municipalities to enable them to function as a unit of self-governance, and hence Panchayat Raj has a due credit okay. So Ripon's resolution 1882 is called a Magna Carta in the history of LSG in India, and Ripon is called father of local self-government in India because he had introduced a lot of recommendations for lot of donation, a lot of changes in that. This is considered to be a Magna Carta of local democracy. Was processed establishment of rural local boards where 2/3 of the whose membership was composed of elected representatives. He treated as the founding father of urban local government. Ripon's resolution followed a series of committees, commissions and acts in this line. Royal Commission on Decentralization in 1909, elaborated further the principle of reform regulation, but recommendations merely on papers. Okay, so that is there. Then Montagu-Chelmsford Act also transferred the subject of local self-government to the domain of provinces. As you know, there was a diarchy in the provinces under Article 219. Just a minute. Okay. So Rippon's resolution considered as Magna Carta in the evolution of local self-government, but you can conclude that although some sporadic steps were taken during the British rule, but solid effort or constructive efforts were not made. Real steps taken after the enactment of 73rd and before also after independence, several changes were made. Okay. So as I was telling you, in Government of India Act 1919 also, the diarchy system was evolved, and in the diarchy system, some subjects of the governor or the executive of the provinces were divided. One were called transport subjects, another was called reserve subjects. The local self-government was transferred under replaced under transport subjects, hence under the responsibility of the members. The reform, Montagu reform also recommended that there should be a complete popular control in local bodies and the largest possible independence for them also. It is said that by 1925, 8 provinces had passed village panchayat acts. However, panchayats covered only a limited number of villages within the limited functions. But this reform could not get much result as far as the democratic decentralization panchayat was concerned. Then in Government of India Act 1935 also, further democratization of local government institutions, including village panchayats, began under 35. The provisions introduced under Government of India Act 1935 continued till August 15, 1947, when the country attained independence. Even though British government did not have interest in the village autonomy, they were forced to do so in order to continue their rule in India, and moreover to meet financial necessities. The Indian Rural Republic had flourished till the advent of British. It received a setback during the British rule. Self-contained village communities and their panchayats ceased to get substance. They were replaced by formally constituted institutions of village administration. In the highly centralized system of British rule, village autonomy seems to be a misnomer. So after independence, Panchayat Raj in independence India, the task of strengthening Panchayat Raj system fell on the Indian government formed after independence. It was clear that India is a country of villages, had to strengthen village panchayats to strengthen democracy. Mahatma Gandhi, who strongly believed in Grama Swaraj for the transfer of power to the rural masses, according to him, the villages should govern themselves through elected panchayats to become self-sufficient. But surprisingly, the draft constitution prepared in 1948 had no place of Panchayat Raj institution. Later, the Panchayat Raj finds a place in DPSP under Article 40. Article 40 of DPSP of the state policy states that the state shall take steps to organize village panchayats and endow them with necessary powers and authority as may be necessary to enable them to function as units of self-government. The most important aspect to strengthen grassroots democracy was neglected by the constitution makers, as DPSP was not legally binding on the government. So constitution is not vocal about the local self-government, interestingly. And not a specific chapter was made in the constitution also. Not a specific part was spent for that. So, the first organized effort to tackle the problem of rural India was made through Community Development Program in 1952 and National Extension Service. So we can begin with that no satisfactory elaboration or no detailed elaboration of Panchayat Raj in the constitution. I mean, the most important aspect to strengthen grassroots democracy was neglected by the constitution makers as DPSPs, where Panchayat Raj is mentioned under Article 40 are not legally enforceable. The first organized effort, the first organized effort to the first organized steps taken towards strengthening rural administration were taken by Nehru government. Through community development program, the first rural development program, community development program, (1952) and National Extension Services, (1953). These two programs were initiated to bring all-round development in the village areas. And this, in 1957, the government of India appointed a committee to examine the working of these two major rural development programs in the country under the chairmanship of Balwant Rai Mehta. So our theme, our first committee will be Balwant Rai Mehta. Balwant Rai G. Mehta or Balwant Rai Mehta. Balwant Rai Mehta in 1957. It was to objective of the committee or mandate of the committee was to review the working of the CDP, Community Development Program, and NES, National Extension Service in the country, in India. The committee submitted in report in 1957 November and recommended for establishment of democratic decentralizations. Number one, or you can say recommendations. Recommendations of Balwant Rai Mehta Committee. Remember, the committee submitted the report in 1957 November. It recommended for establishment of the scheme of democratic decentralization latter came to be known as Panchayati Raj. The establishment of three-tier system the three-tier Panchayati Raj system that is Grama Panchayat, Block Panchayat or Panchayat Samiti, Panchayat Samiti at the block level, and Jilla Parishad at district level. Number 3, the village panchayat or the Grama Panchayat should be constituted with directly elected people Panchayat Samiti and Jilla Parishad should be constituted with indirectly elected members. That is number 3. With indirectly elected members. Number 4, all planning and developmental activities, all planning and developmental activities should be entrusted to these bodies only, the Balwant Mehta opined. Number 5, the Panchayat Samiti should be an executive body, with more power, and Jilla Parishad should be an advisory body, coordinating the affairs, advisory body. Number 6, the district collector should be the chairperson of the Jilla Parishad. And there should be effective devolution. Effective devolution should be there. Effective devolution of powers and resources to the panchayats should be met. Okay. So kindly look at the major recommendations made by the first Panchayat Raj Committee in India after independence, Balwant Mehta. Balwant Rai stressed upon 3-tier system, dividing the district into several villages, and villages will have a panchayat known as Grama Panchayat, and then there will be some block under villages and some blocks, and block panchayats will consist will be under some one block, and a block will constitute Panchayat Samiti, which will be an executive body with more power for sanctioning authority. Then at the top there will be district panchayat or Jilla Parishad, which will consist of indirectly elected members. They will do that. And Jilla Parishad and Panchayat Samiti at the level should be indirectly elected. They should consist of indirectly elected members. All the planning and developmental activities should be devolved to these bodies according to Balwant Rai, and district collector should be the chairperson of the Jilla Parishad. Effective devolution should be made for powers and resources. So if the powers and resources are not devolved properly, then there will be no meaning of autonomy, there will be no meaning of self-rule. And these recommendations were accepted by National Development Council in 1959. In January 1958, the NDC accepted the recommendations, and the council did not insist on a single pattern, rather it left it to the state to evolve their own pattern suitable to their local conditions, but without hampering the basic principles and broad fundamentals of the recommendations. So it not only it left to the state to decide on their own pattern suitable to the local conditions, but that should not dilute the basic principle and the broad fundamentals on which the recommendations are based. So it were accepted by recommendations. Okay, that's recommendation NDC, National Development Council, NDC, accepted all the recommendations of the Balwant Rai Mehta Committee. However, it did not insist on a single pattern, uniform pattern, rather it led to the state to decide their pattern according to their local conditions, without diluting the broad principles or the basic principle and broad fundamentals should be identical to throughout the country. So it was it led the decision to the state pattern of local government. Suitable to local conditions, but the basic conditions, but the basic principles and broad fundamentals throughout the country. And all the states accepted. Rajasthan became the first state. Rajasthan became the first state to establish three-tier Panchayati Raj. On October 2, 1959, in its Nagaur district. Nagaur district. Thereafter, most of the states adopted. Odisha adopted the three-tier system in 1961. Though most of the states created Panchayat Raj institution by mid-1960s, there were differences from one state to another with regard to the number of tiers, relative positions of Samiti and Parishad, their tenure, composition, functions, financials, and so on. For example, Rajasthan adopted three-tier system, while Tamil Nadu adopted two-tier system. West Bengal, on the other hand, adopted four-tier system. Further, in Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh pattern, Panchayat Samiti was powerful as the block was the unit of planning and development, while in Maharashtra, Gujarat pattern, Jilla Parishad was powerful as the district was the unit of planning and development. Some of the states also established Nyaya Panchayat, that is judicial panchayat, to try petty, civil and criminal cases. So many study teams, committees, working groups have been appointed to examine the various aspects of functioning of Panchayat Raj system. In 1960, Committee on Rationalization of Panchayat Statistics was headed by V.R. Rao was there, and in 1961, working group of Panchayats and cooperatives S.D. Mishra, and there was also a team called study team on Nyaya Panchayats, G.R. Rajgopal, and there was study on budgeting and accounting procedure of Panchayat Raj institution, B. Ramakrishnaya. There was also a committee on community development and Panchayat Raj, Srimati Daya Chube. So there was also study team on the committee on Panchayat Raj training centers, G. Ramachandran. All these committee examined this lacuna on the Panchayat Raj system. Okay, so there were several committees were there. Study groups were appointed to focus on to study on the study on the deficiency in the Panchayat Raj system. Later, the major committee that was appointed on Panchayat Raj was the Ashok Mehta committee. So we shall come to Ashok Mehta committee. In 1967, it was appointed by Janata government. I mean, during the Prime Ministership of Morarji Desai, this committee was appointed, and the committee appointed its recommendation or submitted its recommendation in 1978 and made about 132 recommendations to revive and strengthen the declining Panchayat Raj system in the country. So it made 1977, and its recommendations were made in 1978, August 1978 recommendation. It had more than 130 recommendations revive and strengthen the declining Panchayat Raj system. Hello? Okay. Can you call me after 15 minutes? Okay. No, I'll tell you. Just if you can call me after 15 minutes, I'll tell you. Okay. Thank you. Strengthen the declining Panchayat Raj system. Ashok Mehta was appointed by Janata government. You can mention that also. It was appointed by Janata government. Appointed by Janata government. So it is a unique recommendation of Balwant Mehta. He two-tier structure. He recommended, he said, two-tier structure. Two-tier structure consist of Jilla Parishad, and Mandal Panchayat, comprising a group of villages $20,000 population. Okay. So it did not stress upon a middle tier. It made a larger Grama Panchayat and Mandal Panchayat with several 15 to 30,000. District should be the first point of decentralization. Under popular supervision below the state level. Jilla Parishad should be the executive body and made responsible for planning at district level. There should be official participation of political parties. Official participation of political parties in panchayat election. Official participation means direct participation. With their own symbols, they will contest the elections. Okay? Then there should be compulsory power of taxation. Compulsory power of taxation by panchayats to devolve their panchayats supersession period shall not exceed 6 months. In case of dissolution, election must be held 6 months. Naya Panchayat should be a separate body headed by a judge qualified judge a minister for Panchayat Raj should be appointed to look after the panchayat institutions. Reservation for SC and ST. Reservation for SC and ST in accordance with the proportion of their population constitutional recognition to PRIs, Panchayat Raj institution. These are the major recommendation of the Balwant Rai Mehta committee. Okay, and these recommendations could not be put into practice because of the collapse of the Janata government and uncertainty prevailed. No action could be taken on the recommendations at the central level. However, certain states like Karnataka, West Bengal, and to some extent Andhra Pradesh also took some steps to revitalize Panchayat Raj, keeping in view the recommendations of the Balwant Rai Mehta. So Balwant Rai Mehta remained half-baked or half-baked because of uncertainty and collapse of the government. But however, this is also one of the major committees on Panchayat Raj system, and some factors are still considered by the government. Okay, so we shall end with this session with this committee. we shall continue with next committee and analysis of Balwantrai Mehta, analysis of Balwantrai Mehta, Ashok Mehta in the next class. Analysis of Ashok Mehta, recommendations. So that is next class. Okay. So hope all of you are doing well. We shall come in the next session. Okay, we shall come to the next session on these aspects. Kindly tune to our classes and give your valuable feedbacks if possible. Okay. Okay, thank you very much.